how many more sensors, how many more things are you monitoring than like the average drag racer? Like just to create like identify that gap between how many things Brett LaSala is monitoring versus how many things Joe drag racer headed to XRP this weekend is monitoring.
It's probably a similar amount. Well, it depends on if it's just like the standard guy from experience, they need the sensors to make the car run, make the EFI system work. But then, it's all of the other, transmission pressures and things that you can see wear happening, or crankcase pressure, coolant pressure. You can see wear happening in areas or things that aren't this. And it's more of like, there's not a right or wrong necessarily in those readings, depending on your combination or your car. It's just building a database over like, okay, was this pressure for the last 5 runs. Now look at it's tapering off, like what's happening, so it's really the the sensors aren't doing you anything until you build that library. So you need to get them on the car early in the car's life and be able to monitor it through each races and talk to your engine guy, talk to your trans guy. If you're doing your suspension adjustments, like look at your shocks. Is one side faster than the other? It didn't used to be. Are you getting traction more on one tire? Like there's just a lot of things that you have to go over and then compare to, older data. And that's when everything is going right. But then when something's going wrong, that's when you can pull it up and kind of really see the big difference. Like where did it go wrong? Because the problem, happened 2 seconds in the run, but it really started at 1 second in the run. So maybe you're looking at the wrong spot.
So take us through a run. Back. You go out with Snot Rocket and it knocks the tires off damn near immediately. You're going back to the pits. I mean, the track was good enough. Other people were going down it, right? Yeah. It's not like a throwaway session. Other people were going down it. Maybe records weren't being set, but yours goes and knocks the tires off. You've been making good runs. What are you looking for when you get back to the trailer in the data?
Currently, right now, the way the car is and how good we have the car, if it's knocking the tires off right away, it's a tire thing. It's the air pressure. We missed that. Like you said, generally, like we have a tune-up for the track. So you always want to blame the track, but the track's not the problem. It's what you were trying to run on that track is the problem. So, at that point, it's probably a tire pressure thing, which is the hardest part to, and it's one of our struggles now because it's what we need to work on to get better monitoring systems around the tire to be able to know what it's doing rather than like video and stuff, right? So like, did it not have enough air? Did it have too much air? And those are the things that are actually hard to monitor with the sensor. And that's the hardest part of the question mark, because if you don't have clear-cut data, you're kind of, you're taking educated guesses.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've seen racers lose a season to a tire pressure gauge that was screwed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, which is crazy to say out loud, you know what I mean? But like, it was true, and it's weird that you can have all this stuff and then it's something that seems, like straightforward.
Right. So yeah. So having as much as possible that we can, keep consistency and keep, a library and be able to go back and compare to is the best. Like, watching videos for suspension and stuff, it has a place, but you can't, consistently go and be like, oh, let's look at this run from last year at this track and see what it was doing. That's where the sensors and the data really come into play to be able to compare and then make adjustments that way.
So in the knock the tire off pretty early, while expecting it to have made the trip, how much of a swing? I mean, like what kind of air pressure difference are we talking between it making the trip and not?
Right now, I'm in like, I feel like I'm in like the 0.2 pound, 0.2 of a pound range, because we want to run it close as possible to the edge of wadding the tire and it going down.
0.2 of a pound? No shit.
Again, like it's this, and this is just off us with the gauge and then making runs and then going back and making a change. We don't. I feel like that's where we are. Like a half a pound. Like
amazing.
Depending on the run. And you said tire pressure gauge. Recently, I got a good tire pressure gauge right before we won Lights Out. I had like a Joe's Racing needle gauge. And I've had it forever. And Blaine would always set the tires, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go like 16.8. So that's like when the needle's just below the 17. Like we had like needle marks on the gauge. Yeah. And then I recently got a nice digital gauge, and Texas
Hope you got an intercomp one, an intercomp gauge.
Yeah.
Okay, that intercomp gauge is unbeatable. For those that, Aaron Van Heel, the motorsports marketing manager at Intercomp's a longtime homie of mine, been my buddy for 20 years, and they do an incredible job. And I tell everybody, if you're drag racing, you need to have one of those gauges.
So the first half of the race was just us trying to trust the gauge, because set the tire pressure with the old gauge, then check it with the new gauge, because we had our readings on the other gauge, which turns out wasn't the new gauge. But now it's a lot easier, because you can move that temp and feel confident about it rather than needle. It took some stress off Blaine. He was kind of stressing that before.
I bet, man. Well, and I just think it's interesting for people to hear that, because I can't imagine how many people go out in that situation that we just described. Like, people are going down the racetrack, maybe not ideal conditions, but people are going down it. You go out there and don't go down it. And it's like, you go back to the pits, and I don't know that. I wonder how many racers are a half pound away. You know what I'm saying? Like, from having it made the trip. That's pretty incredible. I mean, because that feels dialed in, man. And it speaks to how far your program has come and how evolved this deal has become. Do you think that that's part of your background in auto mechanics and just the diagnostic, working at a Mercedes-Benz? I mean, it's not like you're working at a local inspection shop. You're working at a, very advanced European car, German-made car, right? I mean, do you think that had something to do with your ability to just kind of do this so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, most of my training was in diagnostics. I was, took some training that not a lot of techs had access to with Mercedes for that. And basically, and you can approach a lot of things in your life like this. It's not just racing, it's just how you do it. Is there's a problem that you're trying to solve, rather if it's the headlights not working on your car or getting 10 foot further down the racetrack, and then compiling looking at the correct things that can help you, solve that problem. And then, was the problem actually what you were trying to fix, or was it the cause of the problem, right? Like, the headlight was out, that was the problem. You put a new headlight bulb in, but the reason the headlight was out because you had a shorted wire. So then you have to go deeper and find the cause of the problem. So, problem solving, like I said, like, broken down into trying to figure out what led to that, and then being able to then not repeat that problem in the future, really helps in every aspect.